Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I want to just give you a disclaimer right now from the beginning that this is my very first video that I've ever attempted to post on YouTube. So just bear with me if it's not nice and pretty and packaged in a bow. Hopefully over time I can get that figured out. This particular, this particular page or channel is going to be mostly about just reviews and different things that may arise. So it won't be one particular topic that's over and over and over again. I'm going to do a different variety of things. It can be anything from electronics to my favorite hobbies, which are drones, motorcycling, crafting. It can be anything under the sun. But for today's purpose and the reason why you're here, this particular post is going to be about a drone. Let's get to it. This particular drone is from DEERC / a company called Holystone. This particular model is called a D10. It is very different in the sense that I love drones. I've been a big fan of drones for quite a while. Excuse me. And I have a couple of them. But I lean more towards big. So the drone that I always gravitate towards the most is another one by them. They're HS100G. I don't know why I like big drones, but I do. I really like it. But when they asked me to review, I said, you know what? Let me try something different. Let me try a small one and let's see how it goes. So there is a lot of major differences between this one and this one, and that's before I've even taken it out to fly. There will be another post or another video that is going to be uploaded to show how it does in flight. However, as I begin to take it out the box, because this just arrived not even an hour ago, as I begin to take it out the box and go through the motions and look and review and read, I noticed very big differences between the two. And unfortunately, I can't take it out today as much as I would want to, or I can't take it out right now because I live in Texas and Texas is weird as far as the weather go. So like it was literally the high today of 101 and we had no rain in the forecast. And as you can see, as you can't see because of the trees, but it looks like we're about to get a bad storm in. So I'm gonna be grounded. Forgive the background over here. I just came in from a long, hard day and didn't pick them up. But anyway, I digress. You're here for the drone. So let's get to it, okay? So as I mentioned, this is the DEERC / Holystone D10. And you want to know what is in the box and what is the difference, because you are probably sitting there waiting to spend money, but you want a review. I'm going to give you the real. No sugarcoating, all straight up chaser, not here. You're going to get the straight up real without the chaser behind it. So when you open the box, here's what you're going to initially see. You're going to see some spare parts. You're going to initially see the nice and pretty packaging they have for the drone. You're going to see a remote and the drone, but that's not all that's in there. Behind here, you are going to see a battery. Let's take it out. But we're going to go into this in more detail. But this is the battery, which threw me off, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But this is the battery. And here you have the drone. Now, what I will say on initial unpackaging was that dang, it's bigger than what I thought it was, because looking online, it really looks small. One positive thing I like about this drone is that it is really compact. And with my other drone, let's set this right here and let's go into the reel. With my other drone, right over here, Big Bertha, it's a little bit tedious to pack it up. Like when I first initially started flying drones, it was a little bit cumbersome to me to have to find something to pack it in, because a lot of the cases were either out of stock or you had to get creative on it. And who wants to break it down every time to just fit it somewhere and then try to take it wherever you gotta go to set it back up, to break it back down to so to alleviate that, I just left it in the styrofoam and I just take the whole thing wherever I go. So that's one positive thing about this one, is that it is really small and I can easily put this in something, although I'm going to probably find the proper case for it. But until I do, it's very convenient. And one thing I like about it versus this one over here is the arms on it, because they are, sorry, bear with me, they fold. They open and close and fold. I really like that about it. Just looking at it, I like how sleek it is. It's really lightweight. It's really lightweight compared to this one. Really lightweight, which is what I really like that. It does have a camera attached to it, and it's really neat. Let me move on. We can get into this a little bit later. Now, what comes underneath this in the packaging is your blade guards and another battery. And if you go one step further and lift your packaging up, you get your instruction manual. So just going over that again, what's in the box is basically extra spare parts. You get a battery safety manual in the spare parts, which you can't see. You get your instruction manual. You also get the remote. Now, here's something I want to touch on. With the HS100G, to make a long story short, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. So with my HS100G, it doesn't require batteries, which I love. You charge the remote via a USB. Now, with this particular drone, which threw me off because I just assumed that all of their remotes were going to be like this. So it threw me off that coming straight out the box, bam, you are going to need batteries. This one in particular requires 3 AA's. So if you don't have any at home, prepare to get ready to go to the store, because you're going to do a store run. Luckily for me, I also like to build and create stuff. I'm into woodworking. So the store that I go to get my tools and supplies, they often have circulars that if you come in and purchase something, they'll give you a free gift, and you have different options to choose from. And the last time I was in there, I got a buttload of batteries while I was there. So I had some on standby. But that is something you need to be aware of. If you don't have batteries, you need to go get some. The remotes, under the remote, the batteries, we've discussed that. And the only thing I am disappointed about when it comes to the spare parts, because in the spare parts that I got, you got a charger, you got a and B extra blades and propellers, so to speak. And then you got the spare parts, which is basically the screws and the screwdriver, and then also the warning for your battery safety. So I assumed that as far as the blades go, that you only got 2. But I'm going to suggest to everybody, I know you're going to be eager and excited to want to put this thing in the air and make it do what it do, but I am going to strongly suggest to you to please read your manuals first, which is exactly what I did. So inside the manual, it does clearly state that you get, oh, can you see it? That you get 4 spare propellers, but I only got 2. So that is a issue that I am going to reach out to a representative about, to let them know that I was shorted on 2 extra propellers, and I'll go from there. Now, as far as the overall presentation, my initial thoughts, like I said, it is bigger than what I thought it was going to be. I do like that. It's compact. I do like that. The packaging was nice. The batteries. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The batteries. Compared to the other drone, the batteries are the most lightweight thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, seriously, like, very lightweight. It worries me to a certain degree because I'm just afraid that because it's so little and so compact and so small that I'm going to lose them. Another thing that is an issue that I noticed right off the bat is, once again, you get what you pay for. So on my 100G, this is the battery for my 100G. And you might notice the dot, but I have multiple batteries and I like to identify them so I can keep up with the age of the battery. But anyway, on my 100G, it has indicator lights. And this is basically to let you know if your battery is fully charged or the battery life remaining. Like, as the battery depletes, each light goes out. So that's something that I have become used to and accustomed to. So it kind of shocked me to receive a drone that does not have that feature. Yikes. Like with the other drone, once the battery level gets low, it starts flashing. And that's how I know it is time to bring the drone down, ground it, because if not, you're going to have issues. So I've often used that as a time frame on, you know, how long I've been in the air and so forth and so forth. It's been a safety net. With this one, being that I don't have any type of indicator, I'm concerned. So we'll see. We will see how that plays out tomorrow or later on if weather permits. Another thing that I tried to do with the battery was most of the time, because they're shipping you basically hazmat item that contains batteries. They don't, as a general rule, no company will ship you a battery that is fully charged. That's just for safety reasons. Normally it's at a half or lower. And that's just to prevent any sparks, flames, explosions, blah, blah, blah. Well, I naturally knew this, and I knew that the batteries were going to need to be charged. However, here's something that frustrated me. Let me pull this up here. this is the charging port. It is USB. That's not the issue. The issue for me is with the, I guess I'm so used to the other battery. As this battery begins to charge, it shows me how low it is, how far it is become, and the more it charges, the more the lights go from flashing to solid. Like, as you can see, this is a fully charged battery, but if it needed charging, the lights would be flashing on whatever stage it's on until that stage becomes solid, and then the next light flashes, so forth, so forth, so forth. Well, with this one, it doesn't have anything. So I have no way of knowing when the battery is fully charged or not. So I'm going to be taking a gamble just to put it in the air. And as I'm flying, I'm going to be taking a gamble on when to bring it down. This is just my initial thought process. Maybe as I begin to dig a little bit more deeper into this drone, I'll find out something different. But for now, this is what I see. So I'm a little bit disappointed about that. Let me put this back in your view as I continue to move forward. So we've talked about the battery, and we've talked about how lightweight the drone is. We've also discussed how compact it is. And the arms, I mentioned that off the bat, that the arms, the way they fold and just kind of make the space for you to transport it smaller, I really like it. So overall, just opening it up out the box, I was impressed. Cons, just on initial look. As a matter of fact, hang on. I want you to hang on while I extend it so you can really take a good look at it. Okay. So this is what it looks like when it's fully extended. So you have your slot back here where your battery would go. As a matter of fact, let's put it in and see what it does. I hadn't made it to that point, but let's just slide it in. Oh, I hear, ooh, just heads up. It's getting icky out there. But let's slide it in and see what it does. Bear with me. I am definitely going to have to invest into a stand if I am going to be doing reviews. Okay, so putting it in, I see how flush it is against the drone, which is cool. I see the Wi-Fi antenna and the camera. Now, what I did like about the camera on initial view was it looks like it pivots. I don't know if you can really see that or not, but it looks like it pivots, which is great. Let's see if I can power it up. Woohoo. Okay. All right, that was an initial reaction here. So this actually will be a great indicator, just with me knowing what I know. The lights up front, like if you were to fly a little bit later in the day, so to speak, you got your white lights up front, and then on the back you got your red lights. That basically, for those who've never flown, that's basically for you to know which way is front and which way is back. But I like the little lights that are actually on here. That's gonna be great. So let me power that down. Put that up and go from there. Okay. So The cons, the things that I don't like just initially coming out of the box. I don't like the fact that I got shorted to propellers. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that on my remotes, that if you don't know, you're gonna have to make a store run for your batteries. I don't like the fact that the batteries, I like the fact that it's slim and sleek, but I don't like the fact when it comes to the batteries that it's so small that I might lose them. I don't like the fact that there are no indicators like on my other drone, and I don't like the fact that I will be playing a guessing game while I'm in the air with the drone and while it's on the charger. I have no idea to know where it is. For those that have never flown before, because I just jumped straight into it and didn't go into detail, but for those that have never flown before, these little things are propeller guards, blade guards. So if you accidentally crash, these are, the purpose of these is to protect your blades before they get damaged. So these will take the hit before your blades do. And if you don't have enough propellers, or if you are out of propellers, these will come in handy and help you extend the life of your blades. So if you've never flown, or if you're new to flying, I would highly suggest these. But if you're more of a advanced flyer, propeller guards, what's the point? Okay, so moving on. Moving on. The remote. I knew something was up with this drone as soon as I looked at the remote. So for you to understand what I mean, which would mean I have to pull out mine. I guess I'm just impartial to bigger drones, because with my 100G, it's just a little bit more technology based, and it's just a little bit more neater, so to say. But with this one, I knew something was up as soon as I pulled this out the box, because it has speed and trim buttons. Now, on one of my other drones, which is actually, it was my very first drone. It was a Spider Propel or something like that. It was a racing stunt drone. On that particular drone, it had trim buttons. It didn't have all the fancy gadgets, all the fancy doohickeys and gadgets and bells and whistles. So I had to learn old school how to fly. And as soon as I pulled this one out, I knew that this was the same deal. So this has speed and trim buttons. And if you've never flown before, it's a little bit difficult for you to learn how to fly on a drone that does not have the bells and whistles of this one. This drone has GPS hold. This drone has altitude hold. What is altitude versus GPS? Well, GPS, if you were to drop the remote, or if you were to take your hands off the remote, GPS basically would keep that drone right there in place. It wouldn't veer off to the right. It wouldn't go anywhere. It would stay right there in a hovering state. With altitude hold, if you take your hands off the remote, or if you drop it or whatever, sure, it's going to stay at that altitude that you have it. However, because it is not GPS based, what's going to happen is it's going to veer wherever it veers. So you would need to gain control of that remote to keep it centered, so to speak. So if you have a young one who wants to learn how to fly, altitude hold is really not the best option. I'll just say that and let that be. This particular drone is designed for people 14 years old and up, and in the manual it's saying for people under 14, parent supervision is required. You really would, for an altitude hold based drone, you really would need supervision if you're under the age to not grasp the concept of, the altitude hold. Being that it does have trim buttons, and I'll go over the buttons in just a minute, but I wanted to get this off my chest. Being that it does have trim functions, this one doesn't, because it doesn't need it, because it has GPS. But being that this is a trim based remote control, you would be doing tweaks, or at least I know on my very first drone, which is why I said it's not a good drone for somebody who's just learning to fly, because I did a lot of damage to my my very first drone simply because I didn't understand, the concept behind altitude holds and so forth, and it just kept flying away and I got agitated. With trim based remotes, you're probably gonna have to do a little bit of tweaking when you initially start setting it up, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna take it in the air, but because it doesn't have, where's a pen so I can show you what I'm talking about? You're gonna want to take it in the air, but because it doesn't have a GPS type hold to it, it's gonna go up. But what's gonna happen is it's gonna want to veer off this way. It's gonna want to go this way. It might want to go this way. It might want to come back this way. And that's what trim buttons are for, to fine tune and fine tweak it so it can stay in a better state, so to speak. I'm sure you're probably gonna get a little bit of veering off if the wind blows or whatever, but it won't be as nearly as rough, as nearly as tough. I did not realize that this drone was altitude based. Otherwise, I probably would have picked another one to review. I probably wouldn't have done it, but it's gonna be interesting to get back to see what it's like. Let me put this one away. So let's talk about this remote, because you're probably wanting to know what the deal is. So some of these are pretty much self-explanatory because you can kind of see what it is. Going from the top and across, looking at this one, this is where your photos, still photos would go. This is where your videos would go. And this button here, there it is, that says stop, that's for your emergency landing. This button right here, according to the manual, must be pressed when the power button is on. You must hold both the power button plus this button at the exact same time, and you shouldn't let go of that button until the power is on. So to speak, you would hold this and this to get it going. The button right here is your auto land and auto takeoff. And this little feature here, which I didn't even use on my other one. I don't particularly care for this feature, but it's there. It's nice for younger people that don't quite get the concept of direction. I'll circle back around to that in a second. But this is called headless mode. And what headless mode does is, no matter what direction the drone is facing, whether it's facing this way or whether it's facing this way, however you control that joystick, whether you're going up or down on the joystick to move it to you, from you, left or right, whatever direction you choose. When it's in headless mode, it's going to follow the commands of whatever direction you're putting in. Typically, with drones, if you have it facing forward, then it works in reverse. And if it's facing away, it works normal, like the way you would anticipate it to be. So for those that can't quite get the concept of operating a drone in reverse when it's facing towards you, that is what headless mode is all about. Now, one of the features that did come on this drone that is equipped on the drone, just like on my favorite drone, is Wi-Fi. So you would be able to see your drone in flight as it's further off, or if you want to just kind of survey whatever it is while the drone is doing what it does via your phone. It does have that capability. I know you're wondering, well, gee, for those that are new to flying drones, all of you regulars, of course, you know, but you're probably wondering, gee, how am I going to fly and hold the remote at the same time? Now, here's something that I don't like about this particular remote. It does come with a phone holder, which is located at the base. So in order to deploy that, as you can see, it kind of has a little divot. Bear with me while I pull that out, if you don't mind. So all you would do is just pull that out and sit your phone in there. Now, for bigger phones, it is adjustable. So you would sit your phone in there and do that, and then when you're done, you push it back inside of the remote itself. What I don't like is the fact that it is down there. I don't like that. With my 100G, it's at the top. I'm able to pull it out. It's adjustable as well, and it bends. So it's sitting right there. I can see it's like boom. I don't have to look down at, past my throttle, past any of that. It's sitting right there. So that's something that I do like about my other drone. I don't understand why. I mean, I guess they did it for this effect, but these aren't even legit. Not from what I recall. I don't think these are the true antennas, but if they are, I'll find out and I'll update. But I don't like that down there. So here's my final overall, just from initial unpacking. Okay, no GPS holds. So if you are a beginner, you might really want to consider another option. Nonetheless, if you want to just jump straight into it, but I guarantee you, if you're a beginner and you're trying to fly this one, you're going to want to put on those blade guards, as I mentioned. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Jeez. Would I recommend this for a beginner? No. Would I recommend this for somebody who's been flying? Of course, because they know how to control it. The fact that it's an altitude hold is something that is yikes. Anyway, if you can get past the fact that it doesn't have GPS and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and gadgets of another drone, keep in mind, once again, you get what you pay for. If you can get past that and you still want to fly a inexpensive drone that is sleek and lightweight and just compact, then this is not a bad option. I just wish that I would have picked, because there are other drones out there that are this size, if not smaller, that does have GPS hold. So I just wish I would have realized what I was agreeing to on this one. I'm just not a real big fan. I think my very first drone kind of spoiled that experience for me. And this drone over here spoiled me to death. So to have a flashback of something that I know that gave me those flashbacks, I'm curious to see how it does. So maybe my initial thought process on it will change. Who knows? For now, I'm going to put it up. We're going to wait for whatever this weirdo weather is going to do outside. We're going to wait to see what it does. And then we're going to put it in the air and see what it does. And then give our review. So just coming straight out of the box, would I recommend this for a beginner? No. But once again, if you can get past what I'm saying, then fine. But my overall is a 50%. So we'll see when we put it in the air. So until next time, I'll check you later. And stick around for the other video.